I'm back. All right. Now, for this video, I'm going to be looking at the importance of the review of systems. I mean, I could come up with a catchier title, but we'll work with that for now, okay? I may change it midstream. The importance of the review of systems. Some people are not sure. Some people were asking me about the importance of it. Do we really have to ask about that when we've kind of really done a good history with LIQOR and so on? And so I thought about it and I said, okay, let me think of an example. Again, this is not an example that I faced when I did my Step 2 CS. I'm giving no one any ideas about what I got. I'm just using patients that we have already encountered or patients from first aid for Step 2 CS. Okay, so this was not a patient that I encountered. All right. So I'm talking about the review of systems and the importance of it. And I also want to touch a little bit about how we segue, how we move, how we flow, how it just seamlessly and effortlessly we can get data from the patient. They feel comfortable, they get confidence in us, and yet we can still get the information that we need to make the diagnosis so that we can help them. One critical thing that I found myself saying and that I practiced myself to say when I was preparing for the CS is after I had done the LIQORAA, not sure how it's turning out when you look at it. You know, after you divide up your page and after you've data gathered, I would say to the patient, now I'd like to examine you so that I can find out what's wrong. If that's okay, you always ask for permission, and I'd like to put on some gloves. And as I'm putting on my gloves, I say, now, is there anything further that you can share with me that will help me help you so that I can make this diagnosis, so I can find out what's wrong? I think that's a good way of just tying up any loose ends. If there's anything that they can think of, anything that because I've been so scared or because of this and that, I didn't remember to ask, it's a good question to say, is there anything that you can tell me that you can think of that may be important to help me help you so that we can figure out what is wrong? And I think that that'd be a great way to show the patient, I don't want to miss anything. You're important and I want to help you. So is there anything that you can think of, that you can share with me that will help me help you? And if you haven't really gleaned what the issue is really about, perhaps at that point, with that question, and being open and honest, and them seeing that sincerely you want to help them at that point, they may open, if they haven't already, and share with you what's really and actually going on. Okay, so that's a little tidbit that I found myself saying as I went through all of my encounters. Is there anything that you can think of, anything at all, that you think would be able to help me help you so that we can find out what's wrong? Okay? So it's like a collaborative effort, and that's something that you always want them to understand and believe, because you have to believe it yourself. So let's talk about the importance of the review of systems, and I'm going to use for an example, because it works really well for this topic. I'm going to use a 48-year-old man. Men seem to be taking the center stage today. I'm going to deal with a 48-year-old man who's come in with abdominal pain. So SPs prepare. So I mean, you too. You prepare. Now I'm assuming that you've done the minute and you've done your LIQORR and everything like that. But I'm dealing with this bit right here, which is a review of system, which is NFRCS, travel, headache, etc., etc. I may do something on the mnemonics. There's so many videos out there and so many sites that help you with the mnemonics. That I don't know if you necessarily need help with from me, but I like the movement. That's what we're going to deal with here. So we're a 48-year-old man, doctors. He's coming with abdominal pain. So you're going to be thinking quickly. So you're thinking, so abdominal pain. Now, it could be anything. It could be, now, because you remember you're going to have to assume that you are, at least that's what the booklet says, you're a doctor in a clinic and you're the only one, you can't ask anyone else for help. I like when I'm thinking of differentials, the scariest thing, the thing that can kill the patient. So I'm thinking, okay, is it appendicitis? You know, is it something like inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD? Is it, diverticulitis? I mean, it's a man, so, is it a peptic ulcer? Cirrhosis. You can never tell. You just jot down what you think, okay? And all that you do in your minute. In your minute, you fill out the sheet, you pull out your LIQORR, you fill out all that, and then you put down 2 or 3 things quickly, because you don't know where this pain is going to be, okay? So you go in, and let's just say you didn't watch my other video. Let's just say you didn't, as a matter of fact, even if you have done, yeah, let's go with that. Let's just say what's bothering you today. Hi, Mr. You come in. Hi, Mr. Brown. My name is Dr. Duran. I'll be your doctor looking after you today. Do you mind if I sit and write while we talk? And he says, yeah, okay. So I have my thing here, and I sit down because I found it was easier for me to calm my nerves as I sat. And I have my pen, okay, and I'm looking at the patient. And I've practiced this so often that I know exactly where everything is. I'm just filling in the blanks. So I can still be looking at him, making eye contact, looking down occasionally, but not a lot as I'm writing, but I know where everything is anyway. Okay, that's just a guideline. So, what's bothering you today? How can I help you? And he's off. He says he's got this pain. He's had this pain for the last, let's say, 3 months, just like our other guy. He's had this pain in his abdomen. It's right here, doc. He's pointing to his epigastric region. It's been there. The intensity is quite severe. It's worse before or after he eats. He gives you all these different types of things. Yeah, I suppose when I've been, if I use Tums, it makes it feel better. Anything makes it worse. No, all I eat, I guess. So he goes through all the things because you've done a good job. You gather all that data. He's told you what's wrong because really, truly, his stomach hurts. His stomach hurts a lot. And so he's been using a lot of Tums and drinking a lot of Maalox or Pepto-Bismol. And, wow, this is really severe. So I really had to come in. Now, this is the thing here. Let's get to then review of systems. Now, review of systems, you've got travel. And then you've got headache. So you say to yourself, do I really have to ask about travel? Do I really have to ask about headache? We're talking about abdominal pain. And that's why I want to encourage you, whereas you are asking a lot of questions, it seems, don't skip any, and we'll see why anyway. Let me not get ahead of myself. Just try to ask questions quickly so that you get to the point. Because it is important even in this patient to ask travel and headache. Let me tell you why. You go on and then you say, have you had any travel? Have you been traveling recently? So before that, actually, you would say, I like to segue into that. So after he's dealt with the pain and aggravating, relieving factors, etc., okay, I see what's happening here. Well, let me ask you some other questions. I'd just like to ask you some questions, if you don't mind, about, other parts of your body. Let's just see if everything else is working okay. Is that all right? So then you segue into review of systems. So you say, well, what about travel? Have you done any travel recently? You say, yeah. I just came back from Hong Kong, actually. Really? Oh, that's interesting. What's been happening in Hong Kong? Well, I'm a CEO or I'm a lawyer or whatever, and I have to travel quite often as a part of my job. So listen, guys, this is what's happening. You're up here writing travel, you put Hong Kong. Your eyes are never going off the patient, though. You're looking at him. Oh, really? You're writing. Like here, you're writing travel Hong Kong, but your eyes are not moving off of him. Really? Okay, that sounds interesting. It's exciting. Yeah. And so I just came back, and he closes. He says nothing more than that. Okay, but you slide your hand over here now, because under Palmhouse Foss, remember you have a social history to fill out. Now, this is important because he has already given you the information that will be filled out here in Palmhouse Foss with social history, hasn't he? He's given you his occupation, and so you don't have to ask him again. Try not to ask questions that you've already received the answer to, because that also, I believe, I ain't sure, but I think it will take the patient off, because I've just told you that. That means you haven't been listening if you have to ask me that again, right? So let's try not to have a patient say, but I just told you that, or I told you that already, okay? Because remember, we are being tested on our communication and interpersonal skills. So you slide your hand right down to this section and you put, under occupation, you put CEO or lawyer, he has to travel often and stuff like that. Then you go and you say, what about headache? Have you been experiencing any headache? And then he may say, man, doc, I have been having severe headaches. I have been having such severe headaches. I haven't been able to sleep very well. So we know stress. Woohoo! We're dealing with a lot of stress right there. You can put that under social, or you can do that under review of systems. And it's been so bad. I haven't even wanted to discuss it with my wife. Don't have to ask him then if he's married. He's just told you. So slide your hand down over here when it was social, and you put M, married, or you put married. You're keeping your eye on him. He's giving you information that you need. And then he may say, yeah, things have been so tough. And my headache has been so bad. I haven't been able to sleep and everything like that. I've been so stressed with this merger. I just can't wait for it to be over. And my headaches have been so bad. I've been taking like 10 to 15 ibuprofen. Ding, 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 ding. The lights and the bells should be going off now. You don't jump up and go, yeah, hallelujah. That is the point of the encounter. Remember my last video? What is the point of the encounter? Now, if you just stuck with LIQ or RI, you could still come up with the idea that, okay, he's got maybe a peptic ulcer, but what is the reason? The reason is he's been taking 10 to 15 ibuprofen a day. Now, this is how I do it, because this is how I do with my patients. And I say, but you've been taking 10 to 15 ibuprofen a day and have you been doing anything else, Mr. Brown? Anything else to kind of relieve that stress? I know you sound as if you're under a lot of stress. Have you been doing anything else? Any wine, whiskey, anything like that? He says, boy, doc, it's a serious thing that you mentioned that, because we've been so stressed. When we leave the office in the evening, some of the guys and I, we go over, before we go home, we go to a bar, and I've been downing more beers than I've ever drunk in my entire life. Sometimes I can drink like 6 or 7 beers. Sometimes I have to call a taxi for us and stuff like that. And then on the weekend, I'm still so stressed. I have to be taking I drink like 10 to 12 beers, and I don't even want my wife to know. I don't want her to panic or get upset or anything like that. But I've been drinking so much. Oh, Lord have mercy. Could he have given you the answer more clearly? So we're dealing with NSAID abuse. And we could also be dealing with pancreatitis. So you notice that pancreatitis wasn't even on our list. That's why you're not married to the differential when you walk in. You don't know what the patient encounter is going to be about. But we've just got all of that from review of systems, travel and headache. And it may not have seemed as if it was related to the issue at hand. But that's why, as I was telling some of my friends who are doing it now, don't ignore the review of system. It can give you so much information, because now you've segued from travel, headache, using 10 to 15 ibuprofen. You've now gone on now to alcohol. You can now touch on the social part where he's talking about 6 to 8 beers a day after work, 10 to 15 beers on the weekend a day. So, you can now go into, and he may say, this has not been a problem except for the last few months. This hasn't happened before. I'm not accustomed to doing this. So don't go ahead now and try to think that you're going to be doing a cage thing unless you have time. Have you ever felt like cutting? Because you're so focused on this mnemonic. Have you ever felt like cutting down? Do you get annoyed when people tell you what you're drinking? Have you ever felt guilty? An eye opener. He's told you this is a time sensitive situation that is going on here. So we're not dealing with that. He's not telling you he's an alcoholic. You don't have to worry about going down that road, because you want to manage your time. I'm hoping I'm making sense here. So you come down, you put down the drinking and all that, but this is to inform your differential, which will now be a peptic ulcer disease secondary, or you can put gastritis or whatever, peptic ulcer disease secondary to NSAID abuse, or secondary to alcohol use, So you can put pancreatitis as one of your differentials, but you're going to put your first one to be, peptic ulcer disease, secondary to NSAID abuse. And then you can also put secondary to alcohol abuse, short-term alcohol abuse. So you see how the dynamic has changed from what you thought going in. You first went in with appendicitis, you first went in with irritable bowel, you did have PUD, or we did have PUD going in. But do you see how the landscape of the encounter has changed? It's not enough to put PUD. In order to show the physician who's marking your patient note that it's not just PUD, what is it about? It is PUD secondary to something. It's secondary to something. It's secondary to the fact he's under so much stress. He's having such a bad headache that he's had to be taking so many tablets to relieve his pain. He's been under so much stress that he has to be drinking far more alcohol than he's been accustomed to drinking. So then you can actually counsel him on that. I want you to know that I'm here for you. I can see that you're under so much stress. I can see it in your face that you're under so much stress. And I do believe, although we haven't run all of our tests yet, but I do believe it's because you've been consuming so many ibuprofen tablets and you've been consuming so much alcohol that this has damaged the lining of your stomach. Don't say GERD. I don't even use big words like gastritis, and it may sound like gastritis is not a big word. It is a big word to the patient. You've damaged the lining of your stomach. All those tablets and all the alcohol is damaged the lining of your stomach. Now, I can't say for sure, but it seems to me that that's what the situation is. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. And in the meantime, this is what we will do. This sounds fair to you. And you may say, yeah, I did have a thought. I was thinking that could be it, doc. And the patient encounter can go on like that. So when you get out now, you will know what to write for your differential. And the physician who's marking your patient note will know, okay, she has gotten or he has gotten the point of the encounter. They have not neglected the emotional side of the patient by just focusing in on his stomach. They understand why the patient has come in. It's not so much the peptic ulcer disease, which is the sign of what is the problem, or the symptoms and signs, but you've got to the very nature of what caused it in the first place. You see what I mean? Okay, so that is the importance of the review of systems. I wouldn't neglect it. If somebody comes in with cough, I wouldn't neglect to ask about fever. I wouldn't neglect to ask about night sweats, chills, review of systems, bleeding, vomiting, nausea. All of those things are important. And I just gave you one example. I can't think of any others right now. But that way, if you haven't picked it up in the first set of questions, you can pick it up in the review of systems, and then for sure you can pick it up by the time you get down to Pam Hugs Foss. But I think it serves you better, and it leaves a better impression in the mind of the patient who has to grade you, that you have picked it up earlier rather than later. So you may get to that point where you ask about alcohol, but you sound so robotic if you don't make the connection. They want to see that you can make a connection, and you know about making a connection. Don't get scared with your mnemonic. Well, I can't ask you about alcohol right now. Hold right a second. We haven't reached alcohol yet. We haven't reached your social history yet. You're not going to do that. You're going to segue. You're going to flow from right here. Your hand is going to slide across to wherever that section is. You're going to write that information in. You can even ask at that point in time, have you started smoking? Or no, I don't smoke. It's just the popping of the pills. It's just the alcohol. And I don't have an issue with alcohol except for these last few months, that kind of thing. So again, you assure the patient that you're there for them. Assure them that these are the two things I'm thinking about. These are the things that we want to rule out. And this is how we're going to manage it. This is how we're going to manage it from going forward. All right, so that the patient feels comfortable, that the patient feels happy. All right, so what is my next video? I got to keep looking on my phone. Let me see. We're going to just practice then the blue sheet. I may not do that today though, but we're going to practice filling out the blue sheet, and also practicing how we're going to type on the patient note. Okay, so I really hope this has been helpful, guys. I'll talk to you later. Talk to you soon. Bye.